Hello, Pflugerville. It's me, Dennis, and today I'm with Jonathan Coffman, who is running for Pflugerville City Council Place 1. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, good to meet you, Dennis.
It's very nice to meet you. So tell me a little bit about your experience on this city council because I'm going global to local, knowing that whatever we're going to do here is going to ripple out and impact in the entire world. So let's talk about that. Talk about your experience on the council.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the first time I've run for office, so it's pretty, a little daunting. But I've been thinking about it for quite a while, and I've lived in Pflugerville for a little over 12 years now, and I've been pretty active in a lot of different things related to the city. Everything from working on the 5-year strategic plan that City Council recently passed. I was a pretty vocal voice in putting that together with city staff. Several different master plans for parks and infrastructure and things like that. And then for the last 3 years, I've been on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then after my first year, I was actually voted in by the commission to be the chair. So I've now been the chair of Planning and Zoning for the last 2 years. And I guess through all of those different experiences, I feel like I've gotten a really good idea of both the issues and opportunities here in Pflugerville. And, before I decided to make a run for place one this year, I spent a ton of time just talking to folks wherever I could meet them. And so, I think it's just so important at the local level, especially that folks understand what candidates are all about, what their values are, and what their vision is for the future. And I feel pretty fortunate to, I think, have a pretty good grasp on a lot of the needs of the community. And I'm looking forward to getting through this campaign and hopefully get elected on November.
So this is you have worked on other campaigns though before, haven't you?
I have supported some other candidates in the past. Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to learn from folks who have run other campaigns. Um, I have helped out on a council campaign before, a couple of different school board elections, and some other things as well over the years. So,
Well,
been a volunteer certainly.
well, certainly, but in part of that, but now you get to be the head of the campaign and you get a chance to do this. What I can understand that it's a bit daunting. And so I want to ask you about that. As a city council person, what is it that what kinds of difference can you make? What would be the initiatives that you would want to push?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And I think, what I've heard time and time again from folks around Pflugerville is that affordability is a huge issue. From younger folks, a pathway to home ownership and not just renting for forever is a huge deal. I think the current city council has done a fantastic job of investing in things like water and wastewater and our roads. There's always more that can be done, and I
Or
think a big part of what I want to do is really pull together and look at some of the programs that already exist. So whether it's reforming our water and wastewater bills to make it more equitable. And specifically, I mean, having folks that are using the most amount of water pay the most, as opposed to today where we have extremely high base fees. And I
exactly, it
understand
is.
how we got
Living in
there.
Pflugerville, I understand that. We have that there is quite the base fee. So that's one of the things that the city council could reform.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, at any time, we could go and pass a budget amendment and a resolution, sort of redefining those rates and charges and how it would work. And so, what I've actually done, and I think this is a good example of how I intend to be engaged should I get voted in, is I went and looked at what over a dozen other cities, both in Central Texas as well as elsewhere, places like Arizona and New Mexico, who obviously have probably even worse water issues than we do in terms of drought. And I looked to see what they've done to solve the issue of affordability and rate structures, and spoken with a couple of folks in the industry as well. And so, getting into some of the details on that, when I hear folks say that this is the number one problem in their minds, I'm the type that wants to go figure it out and use data and examples and pull the best of the solutions that other cities have done. And there's a variety of things. So my opinion is that it will be mostly a matter of us finding the right combination of tactics to bring relief to as many folks as we can. So I think that's a pretty good example. Yeah.
So, all right. So you're doing that. Now, what are the issues? When you look at the city, you have an opportunity to hire. What does the city council have that opportunity to know? Because I want to know a couple of things. One, for every dollar that is of the tax dollars that's spent, how do you know that it's being spent as wisely as possible? What are the ways that back when I was growing up, uh, actually before I was born, Harry Truman was in as a senator, and he would drive down to actually to meet the people in the war effort, the businesses, to see how well the money is being spent. So, as you as a council person, how would you learn or know that our tax dollars are being spent as wisely as possible?
Yeah. So first of all, I grew up in Missouri, so I'm very familiar with with the
Independence visited that incredible. Anyway, but go ahead, continue.
yeah yeah. I didn't mean to divert us there. Yeah, absolutely. So regarding how we're spending our our limited taxpayer dollars, it's absolutely critical that not just me as a council person, but the public also has access to that information and can make it readily accessible. In terms
Sure.
of how I would approach that is really, again, I tend to be pretty hands-on. I'm very data-driven. I work in the tech space and have done a lot of analytics and data type of work, so I'm familiar how that works. And then I think it also goes into how I've built up experience working on these other city projects, including planning and zoning, et cetera, is I have a really strong grasp of how the city of Pflugerville works. I have really great relationships with a lot of city staff as well. And so I think we can pretty easily have, frank and honest conversations. And
Right.
on the flip side of that, like I mentioned at the very beginning as well, I think that it's also critical that we provide more of that accountability, whether it's dashboards and reports, et cetera, to the public, so that you all can also see where the money is going and how it's being spent. And similar to the YouTube videos of city council meetings, maybe only 10 people watch them, but I think the point of having all of that information and data being transparent, I think, is important to be available, even if there's not a whole lot of folks that are interested in actually digging in. So.
But we're trusting you. We're needing
Yeah.
you to be the person who is looking in, to be able to say, okay, what is the morale? Just like I saw you with the fire department. How do you know that the morale of and the leadership and the understanding within the fire department is as high as it can be? The places where the people, those people skills, the people leadership, to make sure that we're doing that the best as possible. How have you done that? Like, for example, with the fire department.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think a lot of that does come down to mutual respect and trust, and being willing to have tough conversations when the time comes, in terms of understanding where there's friction, where there's inefficiencies, where there's things that can improve.
Sure.
And then very specifically for, for my role on council, council really only has direct hiring and firing responsibility for, I believe it's 4 people, right? It's the city manager, the city attorney, and our 2 judges.
Yes.
And so, it's not like we're making the decision, or I would be making the decision on a lot of staff. Now, council
Yeah, but
certainly is involved
still,
in that.
Jonathan, the city manager, if you get that role right,
Yeah.
that's a
Oh, it's
big deal. I mean,
absolutely.
the big deal, and your relationship with that city manager. All right, give me an example. Think about a tough conversation that you're going to want to have that's going to be difficult. So talk about that and how you're going to approach it.
Sure. Yeah. So I think a really good one that is timely is, we have now we were without a city police chief at the moment.
Right.
And
That has been an interesting story over the course in Pflugerville that we have had. We've had some controversy in that,
yeah.
over the years. And so tell me about that.
Yes, absolutely. So we're on, is it 3 or 4 police chiefs now in a row that have sort of been, that have left or been forced to leave due
Mhm.
to issues of a variety of types. And so I think that, what we really have to do and what I want to do to approach finding our next one is really think critically about the values of our community and what we care about and what we need to look for. I also
Yes.
believe we need to be looking for the best candidate that is not necessarily already in Central Texas or perhaps not even Texas at all, and really provide an opportunity to have a very open process where we are actively seeking out candidates who will really live and work, Pflugerville's values and qualities. And so helping to define what that
Absolutely.
even is, and then going out and I think helping to set that direction and hopefully being very heavily involved in the interview processes as well, I think is important for council members. And it's probably
Are
not a
they going
case
to
where everyone
hold
needs
that
to.
off? Are they going to hold that off until after the election? Or are they going to be hiring before?
I'm not 100% sure. I have not heard anything that would make me think that they're getting close to selecting someone. I know they a few weeks ago extended the contract of the interim chief for a while longer. So I believe we'll have time, and I believe that's something where I'll be able to jump in and help with and help steer. I think the other great example, and I know we're sort of veering into public safety here, but you mentioned the fire department, and I think that is another decision point that's coming up really quickly around whether we continue to stay with the for-profit ambulance provider or whether we give that EMS service back to the ESD and the Pflugerville Fire Department. And I know there's been.
Are you taking a position on this, Jonathan?
I'll say I've always been a supporter of the Pflugerville Fire Department and believe that they provide a really high quality service. And there's been several issues with our current provider where unfortunately patients have had adverse events happen and it's not ended well. And so I think
our insurance and how we're doing and whether or not they're taking it and they're holding up. So you are taking a position on this?
Yeah, I definitely support the Pflugerville Fire Department. Absolutely.
Okay. So that would be part of what we do. All right. So in this last couple of minutes, you got a couple of minutes to talk to the voter about what we're doing here in this very abbreviated opportunity to get to know you. So take it away.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, so I was really excited to get the opportunity to speak with you because I think civic engagement is just so vital, and I think every opportunity that any candidate in any race can take to make sure that they're communicating their values, their positions, what they want to accomplish for the city, it's just incredibly important. Whether it's 100 people or 2,000 people that end up seeing conversations like this that you've been great about publishing recently. I think it's just so important that you're out in the open and being transparent with folks. And I feel really strongly that my message and the things and the ideas that I'm pursuing align with the vast majority of folks that live in Pflugerville. So whether it is affordability, and that includes things like zoning and development code reform so that we can get more affordable housing built in the city as we continue to grow, whether it is reducing the tax burden on homeowners and really making a concerted effort to bring in high quality commercial and light industrial companies that will be paying more in property tax and more in sales tax. Right now, I can't remember the figure off the top of my head. I think it's between 80 and 85% residential tax base right now. So I think if we can increase that through PCDC, the Development Corporation, as well as the city making it easier to build high quality businesses here. So I think that's vital. The other piece is certainly public safety. It's something I feel very strongly about. We talked a little bit about the Pflugerville Fire Department. I think choosing our next police chief is absolutely critical to get right. And so working through how that's going to work is incredibly important. Beyond that, I'm really passionate about all of the amazing small business owners and entrepreneurs here in Pflugerville. And I really want to see the city take an active role in helping them to build their businesses. I think a lot of that can come through PCDC. But if you think about it, it would be fantastic if our small businesses that are already here can grow into the large employers of tomorrow. And that's something I'm really excited about, and I'm not sure exactly what all the different programs might look like there, but that's another case where, we've got some amazing folks here.
And that's where you can dig in. Jonathan,
Yep.
thank you so much. You're running for place 1 on the November ballot, and we'll do that. And thank you. And I look forward to talking with you again.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Pflugerville. Thanks, Pflugerville, my town. And we'll see you all next time.